When I'm with my girl, she be rockin' that Wilma Flintstone. When it's time to rock the bed, then I get my friend on. What's up, my wizards? It's Dev from the place down there with the decks, and today is finally the day for the Temur extravaganza, I guess. Like, I asked you if you wanted Jund or Temur in the last video, and Jund had its supporters, definitely, but Temur just blew it out of the water, honestly. Everybody's excited about Temur, and this was probably the most response I've ever gotten for, what do you want to do next? So, Temur, definitely it turns out, we got a double deck tech for you, Company and Dragon. So let's go ahead and hit you with it. Let's go ahead and start with Temur Company. I promised you this deck a while back. A couple of people kept hounding me in the comments for it. And I can understand why you wanted it. The deck is really, really cool. Let's go ahead and tell you what we're doing. We got to get through this. We're playing 26 creatures in this deck, 3 of which are Rattleclaw Mystic. We're not playing a full playset, notice. Most of our guys, the nature of the deck, cost 3 mana or less. But there are some things that we're doing with our mana. We got to flip up a couple of guys. We got Savage Knuckleblade in here. He costs mana to use his abilities. There's a couple of things that we need a little more mana than usual for, but we totally get by on just the 3 copies of Rattleclaw. We do want to play the guy. Despite the fact we're playing Collected Company, you may have noticed I said we're flipping some creatures up, because I think they're pretty important creatures in the format, and both of them are okay when Collected Companied out, and we've got a way of snapping them back to our hand. Guess what it is? We'll get to it later. 3 of these cards that I'm talking about are Den Protector, and 3 of them are Stratus Dancer. Stratus Dancer protects us from mass removal. That's very important, especially on the play. We can play this, we can flip this up very easily against a Languish, and then on the draw we can flip it up against a Crux of Fate pretty easily, and other things, Tragic Arrogance and Hostilities. There's a few things. But anyway, Stratus Dancer, an important card for a heavy creature deck like this, and is good when Collected Companied out. I mean, 2 power flyer, and even as a 2-drop, it's not bad at all. And Den Protector just helps us get those Collected Companies back and any creatures that die. I think that Den Protector is just a very important card to play in a deck like this to up our resiliency, our versatility too, and, just get our things back. It is always important to get our things back. Speaking of getting our things back, we're playing 1 copy of Jace, Vryn's Prodigy, just the 1 copy. He's not integral to the makeup of the deck, and actually he's a pretty flexible slot, but in playtesting I've liked when I see Jace. You can recast Collected Company, which is really, really important, and we are playing some other instants and sorceries that are important to recast, Roast. We're playing a copy of Crater's Claws, really, really cool to recast that. I can understand if you don't want to play him, but I've had fun with him. 4 full copies, our first playset, of Harbinger of the Tides, which started off as a 2-of, and then quickly became a playset. It turns out we have the mana for this, and a lot of the cards in this deck, you don't even have to have the mana for if you can Collected Company them out. That's an important thing to note. But Harbinger of the Tides, just played with flash or without, is a very, very good card. Obviously, the creature has to be tapped that you hit, but we're not that worried about that. Really, really good tempo card, and especially good when Collected Company during their combat step. There's just a lot of cool tricks with this, and I want to play the full play set, because Harbinger is so insane, it turns out. I really like this card. First time I've gotten a chance to play with it. 2 copies of Death Mist Raptor, not just because we're playing Den Protector, but also we can obviously Collected Company this out. I mean, a lot of our cards work well with Collected Company, that's the point of the deck. Death Mist, I feel, is a must-play. Started off just as the 1-of. That's what a lot of people are doing. But I just liked it so much, and I wanted to see it all the time, so it's at least a 2-of in the deck. 4 copies of Savage Knuckleblade, because I'm pretty sure that's a no-brainer, honestly. A creature that protects itself, a creature that is, 4 mana for 4 power for 3 mana, There's so many things. We can Collected Company this out. Why not play a full playset of Knuckleblade? I don't see any reason not to do that. 2 copies of Nissa right here. Nissa's awesome and really gives us some long game. Like I said, we are doing some things with our mana, so when we play her on the 3rd turn, then we go fetch that for us and helps our consistency out, That's actually really important. A lot of people are playing her on the 3rd turn. If we do get the 7 lands, which we totally do, this deck goes fairly long. If we do get the 7th land, she's really, really awesome when she flips. Not only is she card advantage, but she is yet another 4-power creature, and that's cool. And her ultimate ain't half freaking bad either, so I do want to play some Nissas. 2 copies of Yasova Dragonclaw. Yeah, this isn't the all-star I wanted it to be, don't get me wrong. It sucks that it's in like wild/slash range, a lot of our creatures are. But this, when it does survive and get to swing in and steal one of their guys, is an all-star. Yasova is a really, really good early game, like aggressive creature, 3rd turn, 4-power creature is not in any way bad and will often trade with almost anything in the format, Doesn't really survive against Siege Rhino, you know, when that kind of sucks. Deck has a bit of an issue with Siege Rhino, by the way. But that being said, again, Yasova Dragonclaw, I think, is right where we want to be. When we do get to swing in and steal somebody, that is very, very good. Like, game-breakingly good. It just doesn't happen as often as I want it to, and she dies. She's a paper tiger. She dies pretty quickly. And to finish it off, 2 copies of the only creature we can't collect in company, that is Temur Sabertooth. We need this for multiple reasons. This helps us survive, you know, mass removal. We can pop a guy back and save the Sabertooth. Doesn't work against Languish, but whatever. Against any other thing it works, not Tragic Arrogance. Anyway, still good, I promise you. We can pop Den Protector and Stratus Dancer back to our hand when we flip them up, or when we happen to collect and company them into play, you know. Temur Sabertooth has a lot of good applications in the deck. He saves our guys. We can pop back Harbinger of the Tide, play that again, bounce another guy, you know. Nissa, we can bounce that, get another Forest. There's lots of play that we have with Sabertooth here, and he's really been good in playtesting. On to the spells, we're playing 10 of them. 4 copies of Collected Company to start off. I don't have to talk too much about this. It makes the deck tick, you know. We can win without Collected Company. We've got 26 very efficiently costed creatures that do a lot of cool stuff for us, you know, either onboard effects or you know, when they enter the battlefield. So we've got a lot of stuff going on, and we can win without Company, but Company really puts us over the top. And we can instant speed, put out 2 guys that both do something when they hit the board or have some sort of effect on combat, you know, then this is just ridiculous. Collected Company's awesome. That's why we made the deck. 3 copies of Wild Slash here in the deck, and 2 copies of Roast. I might as well go ahead and tell you about both of them at the same time. This is our removal suite. You know, we need the Wild Slashes because we don't do very well in the first, you know, 2-3 turns of the game while we're sort of setting up a little bit and looking for that, you know, 3rd turn Collected Company off a Rattleclaw Mystic. You know, we definitely need some setup time, but not too much. That being said, that setup time is covered very well by Wild Slash, especially against the very aggressive decks in the format. And not just mono red aggro, we're seeing a lot of Abzan aggro, you know, we can kill a Rakshasa Death Dealer they've tapped out for in the 2nd turn. That's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff we can do with Wild Slash, and we'll satisfy Ferocious on it some of the time. You know, there's 8 or 9 creatures in the deck, something like that, that satisfy Ferocious. So, a lot of good things about Wild Slash. And Roast, obviously, we've got to take out things that are a little bit higher on the curve than us. So I really, really like Roast, and obviously, both of these burn cards are good to recast with a Jace, and very cheap to recast with a Jace. We're also playing 1 copy to finish off the spells here of Crater's Claws. Again, we can satisfy Ferocious fairly easily. This is very well recast and can end the game a lot of the time. So, I don't see any reason not to play at least the 1-of copy of Crater's Claws in the deck. Here's our lands. We are trying to emphasize blue just a little bit more than we normally would because of the 4-of copy of Harbinger of the Tides, but again, we can collect and company that into play. So blue is prioritized a little bit more than you would normally see in a Temur build, but aside from that, this is a fairly basic Temur land suite here. So look at it. Let's go. Here's the board, which I venture to say I need a little bit of help with. I got to like 10 cards on the board and I was like, oh, what else? You know, so if you have any suggestions for this board, let me know because I'm very, very open to them. Although the board has done well. I really, really like Aerial Volley, and I'm surprised I don't see that show up more often in, opens and invitationals and stuff like that. I really like Aerial Volley, especially with Hangerback Walker being so good right now. Really covers you being able to remove that card. But anyway, that's the board. Let me know if you have any suggestions. And finally, the power rankings. A final score of 57. The power stat itself is fairly high. We're playing some really powerful cards in the deck, you know. Rattleclaw is going to be a powerful card post-rotation. Still is right now. Den Protector, Stratus Dancer, Harbinger is a fairly powerful card. Death Mist, Savage Knuckleblade, Nissa is super powerful. Jace is pretty powerful. Collected Company, obviously. So the power stat is very high in this deck for what it is. And aside from that, I think all these other stats are fairly accurate here. We do have some versatility, some resiliency in the deck too, thanks to Collected Company and Den Protector and Jace, you know. And we have a fair amount of threats, and that helps our resiliency out too. So pretty good power stats, you know. 57 is not a bad score at all, I would say. So let me know how you feel about this Temur Company deck, or if you have any suggestions for it. There were some things I wanted to play, but ultimately I think this is one of the better iterations that I came up with. Now, deck number 2. Let's move on to Temur Dragons. I love this deck. I know that during Company I was like, this deck's really good. The Company deck is very, very good, but I am completely, totally smitten with this thing right here. There's been some buzz about Temur Dragons. People are trying to make it work, and it's got a lot of powerful options. So let me go ahead and show you what I've done here, because it's slightly different, but still very much inspired by the Temur Dragons we see floating around. Well, we can't do this without ramp, so we're playing 4 copies of Leaf Gilder and 4 copies of Rattleclaw Mystic. I also thought about Whisperer of the Wilds, but ultimately wanted Leaf Gilder. It helps us trade in the early game and, against aggro and stuff like that. And is a fine ramp card in and of itself. I don't think we need Whisperer of the Wilds, but we definitely need the Rattleclaw Mystic. Obviously this is Excel, when you just play it by itself, and it's hella Excel when you morph it up. So we really need to play some ramp in this deck, and I think these are the better options right now. 3 copies of Scaleguard Sentinels, some more early game protection for us here. Sentinels has been really good even when you don't have the dragon. It often can stop some aggro decks just cold, right in their tracks, just as a 2-3 on the second turn, especially if we're on the play. And if you do reveal the dragon, a 3-4 is just unbeatable for some aggro decks, in the first couple of turns. So I really liked Sentinels. It was kind of a throwaway at first. I was like, I guess I'll try and play this card. But it turned out to be like so good and important that I upped it from 2 to 3 copies. And the card is much better than I anticipated and is out of Lightning Strike range. We'll see how important that is after the format rotates. But it's out of Wild Slash range, just out of the range of a lot of the spells that will kill it early game. Obviously they can ultimate price this, but I think ultimate price won't be as important post-rotation, but I've said that a million times. So Scaleguard Sentinels, I think it's good. 3 copies of Den Protector, Deja Vu, you've seen this before. Den Protector is just ridiculous. We have to play it. Helps us get anything back that dies. Again, Den Protector, you guys. We're playing Temur. There's green in the deck, so Den Protector. Here's something else familiar, 2 copies of Nissa right here. Obviously this deck wants to play even more lands than Temur Company, so I want to play some Nissas in the deck. Again, when we flip this, it's crazy card advantage, and I really can't say anything about the card that I didn't say when we did the Temur Company or any other deck where Nissa's been in it. This is just an incredibly important card in the format. Let's play her. Here are the dragons. That's important. 2 copies of Icefall Regent, 4 copies of Thunderbreak Regent, and 3 copies of Dragon Lord Atarka. Yeah, all of these are dragons, and we have to have them for not only Scaleguard Sentinels, but we're obviously playing Draconic Roar, which is just a really awesome card. Icefall Regent is removal, and I really like the card. Some people may recoil at the inclusion of Icefall Regent. I don't care. I love Icefall Regent. It does nothing but good things for me in testing, no matter what deck I'm playing it in. Thunderbreak Regent is obviously crazy and ridiculous advantage. We can play it on the 3rd turn, which is just dumb. And Dragon Lord Atarka, we're only playing the 3 copies of it because, we're not going to get insane mana all the time. There's a lot of decks that play 4 Dragon Lord Atarkas. We're not one of them, although we could be. I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to play 4. Here's the spells. We're playing 6. 4 of the aforementioned Draconic Roar and 2 Crater's Claws. I can actually see if you wanted to play more Crater's Claws in the deck. It's a really good card, considering we got all the ramp and all the, huge creatures in our dragons, so I can understand that. But I just went with the 2 copies in the main deck here, and obviously 4 Draconic Roar I think is a no-brainer. And we're playing 4 Planeswalkers in the deck, 3 copies of Sarkhan Unbroken, and 1 copy of Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Obviously Ugin is Ugin. We have the mana to play him, so we're playing Ugin, and we have Haven and Spirit Dragon, we're playing Ugin. But Sarkhan Unbroken is the one I want to talk about. Sarkhan Unbroken is absolutely ridiculous. Sarkhan Unbroken is a misnomer. He is absolutely broken, it turns out. Especially, we play this on the 4th turn most of the time, and is just absolutely crazy. I can't praise the card enough, Again, card advantage, and we do use the mana that we generate from the card, like every single time we use his first ability. And the ability to just put a dragon out every single turn is nutso. That's crazy. Obviously, we'll kill him after a couple turns of doing that. But the ability to put a couple of dragons out, before he dies, that's unbelievable. It's crazy that we can just generate essentially free dragons a couple of turns out of this thing. This thing's crazy. And the +1 is way better than people give it credit for. The +1 is insane. The first turn that you play him, he feels like 5 mana to draw a card and add a mana. Basically 4 mana to draw a card. But subsequent turns, he just value. The card is insane, and I've really liked playing him. We have the creatures to sort of back him up so that he won't, die in combat or anything. He does die to burn a lot of the time, but again, we have Den Protector. We can bring back Sarkhan Unbroken if he dies. I absolutely love Sarkhan Unbroken in this deck. I hadn't played with him in a few months. I'd forgotten how strong he is. He's still very strong. Sarkhan Unbroken is insane. And here's the lands. More Temur lands. Again, we've done this before. We've all been here before. Let's just make the basic Temur thing and land base, and let's just put Haven and Spirit Dragon in it because we're playing a bunch of dragons and Ugin. So that's the land base. Drink it in. Moving on. Here's the board. I think the board is a little bit stronger in this Temur deck. Just, you know, obviously we can play bigger stuff in this one. Cirque Dragonclaw is an especially good card out of this board. I like it a lot against control, obviously. Angie's Revenge. Against control out of the sideboard, we do fairly well, honestly, and we do okay against control anyway, just because we have so many threats. And the 4 Havens of the Spirit Dragon, you know. This is ridiculous. What can I say? Sideboard is okay, but again, I'm taking suggestions. And here are your power rankings. Yeah, a final score of 62. That is a very good final score. Higher than any that we've had in a while here, it turns out. This is right up there with, you know, your Abzan decks and stuff like that. The very important decks in the format. Plays an awful lot of powerful cards. Is very resilient because of all the threats that it plays, plus Din Protector, plus Haven of the Spirit Dragon. You know, we play a fair amount of good removal, you know, Draconic Roar, Crater's Claws, Icefall Region is removal. Thunderbreak Region makes it very hard for them to remove our guys. That's fair resiliency. And we're just a fairly versatile deck here. I really think that this is a very powerful deck. No matter which way you build it. I mean, the deck just has a lot of access to insanely good cards. So I really like Temur Dragons. It is the most powerful deck, or at least it feels really powerful when you're playing it, that I've played in a really long time. Just almost anything that you draw advances the cause, you know. There's just no bad top decks in the thing unless you draw a Leaf Gilder on the 9th turn or something like that. There's just really not much that you can draw that you don't absolutely want at the time. And just lots and lots of power. Just lots of power in the deck. And it's really good. I'm sort of speechless about this one. I'm like, the deck is really good because the deck is really mind-blowingly good. I like this deck an awful lot, and it's strong against a lot of the things in the format. It does have some problems with decks that go up under it, like aggro, you know? Same problems that Green-Red Dragons has, but I think that something like this will take the place of Green-Red Devotion or even Green-Red Dragons. I think that Green-Red Dragons might add a color once it loses, you know, Courser of Krufix and a couple of other important cards. So anyway, that's Temur Dragons and Temur Company. Here's what I'm thinking about doing next. I've had a couple people in the comments, more than a couple people in the comments, say bring back $10 decks. It hasn't been gone that long. It's been gone like a week. But yeah, I'm bringing back $10 decks. Don't worry. I'm thinking of a couple of things. It's either going to be mono black $10 or $10 Simic, which I'm pretty sure is going to be the thing people want more. But anyway, that's all I got for today. If you enjoyed the content, do the things. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hitting the thumbs up. It takes like 2 seconds and it helps us out. You would not understand how much. And thanks for all the new subscribers. I've been saying that in like every video because every time I do another video, we've gotten like 400 new subscribers. We're growing super fast. So welcome to MtG. Thanks for being here, and thanks my wizards, my long-term wizards that have been here for a while. Appreciate you guys coming, man. I'm Dev from The Place with the decks. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, my wizards.